Welcome back to the Samantha Show. I'm your host, Samantha. You can call me Sam. Just don't call me Sammy. And I'm here today. Don't call me Sammy.
Don't call you Sammy. Okay,
No.
duly noted.
No. I'm here today with Mikel. Mikel owns Megacorp's Fitness, and we're going to talk all about that and what that is, because I'm telling you, if you have not done this workout, which is known as Lagree, you are missing out on something.
Really, seriously, you are.
So, Mikel, before we get into it, I start every single show with the 3 things that people need to know.
Okay.
So can you give us the first thing that the people need to know?
So first thing people need to know is that there's an actual flower called the freak of nature.
What?
Yeah, you have to check it out. So it's something, it's like a little nickname my mom always used to call me. She's like, you're a freak of nature. And when I would look at her, she'd be like, it's a flower. It's okay. Just breathe. So look it up. It's pretty cool.
Okay. It's a pretty flower.
It's a pretty flower.
Not a freak of nature.
No.
Okay.
So it's very interesting.
Googling it. Everybody's going to Google it.
Everyone's going to Google it now. Google image. Yeah.
And what's the second thing that people need to know?
Did you know that you are more likely in your lifetime to be bitten by a squirrel than by a shark?
No.
Yeah. Think about it though. It makes sense.
It does.
Because you're out at parks. Not everybody goes to the ocean. And have you ever been chased by a squirrel?
Maybe not directly, but do you feel like they have like some savage energy?
They really do. They really do. They really do.
And they're probably very comfortable because like there's always food around and they're going to get those snacks.
Yep. So they're gonna come after you. So just be mindful. Be mindful of the squirrels. They're nuts. Pun intended.
Pun intended. Absolutely intended. And what's the third thing that people need to know?
So third thing, gonna say it loud, gonna say it proud. Lagree is not Pilates.
Lagree is not Pilates. And I'm so glad you brought it up because we are going to talk about that because we are sick of everybody getting it twisted.
Oh, yes, we are. We really are.
I almost, when I put that question on, how's Lagree different from Pilates? I was like, she's probably sick of this conversation.
Oh, no, but I knew it was going to come up. So It's all good. I'll totally answer. So,
well, perfect. These are great things that we need to know. So Mikel, she owns a gym called Megacorp's Fitness with a focus on Lagree. So let's just start this by telling us, I want to hear about your background, but first of all, what is Lagree?
So Lagree, so I can tell you like scientifically, right?
Yeah.
Like Lagree is low impact. So it's great for your joints, for your connective tissues. It's high intensity. So it will transform your body in ways that you didn't even realize your body could transform.
Totally.
So it's bodybuilding based. We use spring tension. We use time under tension. We use a very specific machine. We either use the Megaformer. There are the Mini Pros that just recently came out. And then there are the Micros that came out during the pandemic, which are kind of like the in-home facility, like gym equipment that you can use for Lagree. Okay. But in all honesty, like even saying like low impact, high intensity, full body workout, spring-based, all of that like scientific stuff, honestly, it's like the most amazing workout that you didn't even know you freaking needed. Like it's just, it's game changer. It really is. So.
Yeah. I know I've only really taken a handful in the grand scheme of life, but it's crazy to me how truly low impact. So, as someone who teaches indoor cycling and do cardio all the time, so that high like cardio piece of it, I don't want that. I don't want to jump. I don't want to run. I don't want all of that pressure on my knees, but I also love like big strength. So I really enjoy lifting weights at the gym. And I love that balance. And I truly feel like Lagree gives me that. And it's also can be quite challenging, which I love about it, because when I ask what's the difference in Lagree and Pilates, when I leave a Lagree class, I'm like, what just happened? But in the best way possible. And I don't want to scare people because it is approachable and it is, you can come in at any fitness level. I believe that because you can modify and get through it, but I can feel it. And when I go work out, I want to feel what I've done.
Yeah. I've had people who've come back, like they took one class and then they came back for their second class and they're like, Mikel, I know that I'm crazy, but my knees don't hurt.
Yeah.
Like I had one lady, she was like, I have one class and my knees don't hurt. She's like, I even went for a run and my knees didn't hurt. And I was like, that's the power of Lagree.
Yeah, truly. So I want to talk more about that, but you own a Lagree studio, the only Lagree studio here in Dayton.
Yes.
And so you're the only place where we can get this done. how did you get to this point? How did you get into Lagree? How did you hear about it? What made you want to bring it to Dayton and open your own studio? Tell us a little bit about your background story.
So I am actually one of those weirdos because I'm comprehensively certified in Pilates. Okay. So that means I'm fully certified in Pilates. I can teach on the reformer, the springboard wall, the chair, the Cadillac, the whole shebang, right? Mm-hmm. And I just kind of gotten to a point where I'm like, like I loved the low impact. I loved it. But prior to Pilates, I was very like strength based. I was bodybuilding, I was powerlifting, I was doing things that are very like empowering as a woman to just feel strong, sure. Right? And whereas, Pilates, you can kind of get some aspects of that, but it's more rehabilitative, it's more lengthening, a little bit more kind of like Zen, like yoga, right? Yeah. But I needed something to just like burn off steam, yes. Right? And I was doing research because I'm 5'11", so I don't always fit the best on like a reformer. So I was doing research and I happened to find like the mega former. And I was like, oh, there's this huge reformer. And I'm looking in Ohio and I'm like, where is like the nearest studio? And at that point in time, they were all in Columbus. Sure. And so I went to the butcher shop, took a private up there. I was such a dumbass. I didn't know that it was the owner of the studio. I was like, oh, I'm a Pilates instructor from Dayton, thinking about buying a mega for my self-practice, blah, 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 all that jazz, right? She destroyed me, destroyed me, put me on a one yellow plank. And within the first 10 seconds, I'm sitting there because I'm like, I'm a Pilates instructor. I know how to plank.
Right.
No, I was not prepared. I died. Oh my God. Like I literally died, but walking out, I was just like, I need this in my life. I need this. Like I was destroyed, but I felt amazing. Yeah. Like the euphoria was real, was walking out on wobbly legs. And it was just, I was like, I need this. And if I need this, I know other people need this. And I just hit the ground running. I was very busy during the pandemic, during the shutdown. I got certified. I got level 1, level 2 certified through Lagree. And it just kind of went from there. Teaching privates out of my house turned into brick and mortar.
That's right.
So it was pretty cool. Yeah.
That, you said something that reminded me of, you guys call it Lagree brain.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And you had talked about this a couple classes that I went to, like Lagree brain, like you're just kind of mush, like this euphoria in a great way, but also you're like, what just happened to me?
Literally.
And I'll never forget, I went to Chick-fil-A after one class and drove up to the window to like pay. And they're like, you don't have an order. I literally drove past the first person who takes your order. Just drove past them and went to the pay.
Didn't even see
Gave
them.
Them money. They're like, what's your name? I'm like, Sam, Samantha. And they're like, yeah, we don't have an order for you in here. And I looked back and I was like, I didn't even place an order. I was just like,
yeah.
But it's weird to like your point. Like, it's not the same as like, I don't know, when you're doing it, it still feels like you can get through it. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's challenging, but like somehow doable, but then it just like, it burns after. Like, it's just,
yeah,
it really is. It's unlike any exercise that I feel like I've done. And I have to admit that like, since I haven't been as many classes as I'd like to go, but I have gone to Planet Fitness a couple times. I've tried to implement some of the concepts of like this slow pace and movement, even with my weightlifting. Can you speak to that at all? Like what the concept or science is behind just that slow movement and how that is, because that's really what is unique about this.
Oh yeah. Well, so time under tension is actually a bodybuilding based principle. So it's working through the concentric and the eccentric motion. A lot of people focus on just that concentric motion, like that contraction of the muscle, like in a bicep curl, they just focus on like curling it up and they're like, boom, like I flex and then I release and then that's it. Right. But when you're working through controlling both motions, like when you're pulling it up in that bicep curl, and then you think about, instead of relaxing and dropping, pushing back down, what's really cool is that there are scientific studies out there that show that working through that controlled eccentric motion actually helps protect the connective tissues, the ligaments, the tendons, can actually help with tendinopathy, like tendonitis, things like that. So it's very restorative, very healing, and also like preventative medicine. It's really cool. And I like to tell people, like, I was doing Lagree before I even knew what the fuck it was because of my background in bodybuilding and powerlifting. And I was always the weird person at the gym. Like, okay, I would explode and lift it up, but then I would control it on the way down, or like play with the ranges of motion. Like I get into the really nerdy, weird stuff. Right. And a lot of my friends that I've been trying to get to come to the studio because they're still powerlifting, they're still, all of that type of stuff. And they're like, no, like, they're like, you're going to kill us. And because they know the weird stuff that I used to do.
Yeah.
But like, there's some actual, like, there's so many articles and things out there. And I honestly feel like they're just touching the tip of how amazing Lagree actually is. Like, I feel like Sebastian is so like a far ahead of the game that he doesn't even realize fully what he's got yet. But that's what's really, really cool about it all. There's another instructor out on the West Coast. Her name's Mia Donna, and she owns a studio, but she also has an account called Fascia Lagree. And they're talking about how, like, with that controlled eccentric, concentric motion, with that time under tension, you're actually breaking up like tight fascia, which is phenomenal. It gives you more of that mobility. It gives you more freedom of motion. And it just helps with all sorts of really cool stuff. Like, I could go on for fucking hours. So
no. And you're so right. And I during this crazy season of my life, decided to go ahead and get NASM CPT certified.
Yeah.
So I'm doing all my studying. And I mean, you're speaking to literally what the textbooks are saying, but we don't see more of, which is this time under tension. And like you said, controlling both movements, both directions. So I was thinking of Lagree when I was reading even the last like chapter. I was like, this is it. Like, this is the science behind it and why it works and why it's so good and things that we should be doing more of. So I think that's really great. You mentioned Sebastian. Can you tell us who Sebastian is?
So Sebastian Lagree is the creator of Lagree Fitness. We were pretty fortunate in that he got to come out to our studio. And he taught some classes. So we're one of the only studios in the entire world that currently has the mini pros and the megas. We actually have micro too, but a lot of people don't know that it's just kind of in the corner, and I use it when I need it for like private parties to be able to model moves and things on. But he came out and he taught 2 classes on the mini pros, 2 classes on the megas. Like, he destroyed everyone in the best way possible. But I think, like, when you have the creator of a method there, like in your face, this close to you, telling you to do something, like, you're going to do it to the T, and like, you're going to go so slow. And everyone, like, I even told people, because I got to take a class, I was so pumped. I told people, I'm like, I blacked out. And someone was like, wait, you passed out? I was like, no, like, I had an out of body experience. Like, things got to the point where, like, I was floating above my body, just watching the after, like, just watching the slaughter happen. So, but it was amazing. It was phenomenal.
So you mentioned at the beginning, and I know we've kind of already talked about some of the Lagree methods and the concepts. Lagree is not Pilates.
Yes.
So what is the big difference here of someone like, well, it looks like Pilates? Like, what really are the big differences here?
So the big differences, and again, I am certified in both, right? So, and I taught Pilates for years.
So if anybody can speak to this, it's you.
Yeah.
Literally.
And what's really cool is that there are a lot of studios out there. There's a lot more than people realize, that there are studios that incorporate Pilates and Lagree, because they are so different, right? My studio is not the only one that does it, but Pilates is very rehabilitative. So when Joseph Pilates was creating it, he was creating it to rehabilitate people. I mean, he literally was using hospital beds and the springs from the hospital beds. So it was never meant to be super transformative. It was meant to get people moving and then help them, like, just get back into life, right? And I mean, there's even a book, Return to Life. Okay. Whereas Lagree is transformative. Lagree is high intensity, but low impact. Pilates is low impact, but traditional Pilates is low intensity. I do kind of see that there are a lot of studios out there that in the Pilates world, they're trying to kind of ramp things up. And I think that what's sad is that they just don't get the differences themselves, because there's so much of like a quote unquote purist, right? Or I like to call them Pilates snobs, that they're not willing to branch out and try something else so that they can really comprehend the difference.
Sure.
And that's something that, you know, like I accidentally stumbled into Lagree, and like within the first 10 seconds, like I literally remember thinking, this is not Pilates. What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And I died, and it was glorious. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
And I have so many clients that come to my studios who were with me when I was teaching Pilates, and they're like, oh, whatever, Mikel, whatever.
Yeah.
And they try it and they're like, holy crap, you were right. This is not, but there are similarities in that Sebastian was inspired by the reformer.
Sure.
He loved the sled and the springs. But when he first started teaching, he was teaching Pilates. Mm-hmm. His clients would go from a Pilates class with him straight to cycle, straight to boot camp, straight to bar, because they wanted to sweat.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I can make you sweat. You just have to let me do it my way. And then he started to figure out that his way didn't really work well with the reformer. And so he started to tweak things, because the reformer hadn't been updated. Like Pilates has been around for over 100 years. Yeah. They haven't really updated much, right? So he added the back platform. He was the very first person to add the back platform. He was the first person to extend the front platform to where you could fit your whole foot on the whole like front platform. Most reformers, you can only fit like the heel of the foot and a little bit of your arch or the ball of the foot. And like, that's it. So it's really cool if you get into the history of both and you really look at the progression of Lagree. That's what I love, is that Lagree is a live method, and it's constantly changing with the times, with the science. And that's something that, you know, it does kind of like, I love and I will value Pilates always. Mm-hmm. And I still teach it. I teach something called Pilates suspension method. I have fuse ladders at my studio and I teach Pilates off of those. Yeah. But then we've got Lagree, and it just hits so different. And my clients saw more change with me in 3 months of Lagree than they did in 3 years of Pilates.
Yeah.
I mean, like very, very seriously.
I totally believe that. I mean, I've taken probably only like 3 or 4 Pilates classes aside from the ones that I've like taken at your studio. Yeah. And I think that's always my biggest thing, is like when I go, it's a nice stretch, like it feels, but I'm like, if I'm spending an hour and this much money, I want to feel it. Yeah. I want to feel it. Yeah. And that, I think that the first time I took Lagree, I was like, I think I'm going to need some Tylenol.
like I need a nap.
I did nap. Oh it was like Thanksgiving. It was a Thanksgiving day, literally a year ago. I think was the first time I took my class. And
because you had the day off. You were like, let me go do something.
Yes. So,
oh my gosh.
Aside from Lagree and the fitness piece of this, I'm curious, because we talk, a lot of people are entrepreneurs or they start their own business. What has been the most challenging piece of owning a small business?
All of it.
The list?
All of it.
Where do I start?
All of it. Like you go into this and you're like, you know, it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
But you don't realize how hard it's going to be.
Yeah.
And it's weird. It's so frustrating, but rewarding.
Sure.
And it's so hard, and it can be lonely. It really can. And sometimes like, it's so weird. Like you find out real fast, like who is really in your corner, who really wants to support you, and who's like, oh, cool. Now you can give me free things.
Sure.
And like, you find out real quick, like you learn a lot of hard lessons. I've learned a lot of hard lessons over the last year. And what's really cool about Lagree is that we're not a franchise. We're licensees. Mm-hmm. So we're purchasing a license through Lagree to be able to bring this amazing method to our communities. But what's really cool is that each studio is its own personality, its own community, its own like aesthetic, its own everything. So, and I think for like that's really cool. So there's a big difference between like purchasing a franchise where you have the roadmap and they're showing you what to do, how to do it.
Yep.
And like they're sending you things and they're sending you master trainers and they're doing all this stuff. And then there's a difference between that and then like, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You don't know what's right. You don't know what's going to work for your community.
Yeah.
Like you're just throwing stuff to the wall and watching for something to stick is what I feel like half the time.
Yeah.
But again, like I feel like you have to have a passion, because if you don't have an actual passion for what you're doing as a small business owner, you're going to fail because you're going to burn out so bad.
Sure.
If you're in it just to make money, like it's because there's no money to be made. Honestly, your first like 5 years, like I've worked for over a year now and I've not paid myself a freaking penny. So, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't want to scare people away because I do think that I feel like it's the American dream, right? Isn't it?
So then what are the rewarding pieces of it? So we don't scare people away. What has been the most rewarding piece of owning a small business, or maybe your business specifically?
Honestly, with my business, it's my community. That was something like the last studio that I was at, it used to just drive me nuts. I'm like, we have this amazing platform to build this community and to really connect people in like the best way possible. And it was just not happening.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, why are the owners not in here every day? Like, why don't they know people? Why don't people know them? Like what, like why? Just so many whys. I'm in my studio every day. I know each and every one of my members. Like I might not know, their names of their kids and like where they're vacationing, but I know my members. I know their bodies. I know them. I can read their body language. I know when they're having a bad day and maybe I need to dial things down a little bit. I know that, certain people, I can push them a little bit more. And the community, honestly, is like the biggest thing for me. Like that was the coolest thing. And I always get like really choked up about it because they're all so fucking awesome and they've all gotten so strong. And that's the thing for me. It really is. Yeah. So, and like when Sebastian came, I was so fucking proud of them because they all worked so hard. They listened to their bodies. They modified when they needed to, and they stayed in that time under tension. And I constantly tell them like, you're so strong and I believe in you so much. And so it was really cool for them to be like, oh my God, here comes dad, right? Here he comes. Let's impress him. And like, he was blown away. Yeah. He was like, I'm coming back. He's like, he had a really good time. So and like I said, I always get kind of choked up because they're fucking awesome. I love them so much. So
they're your family.
Yeah.
They're your family.
They
that
really are.
You have built and you support. And, I think that in any business, when we see that kind of love and passion, I mean, that's what makes it, that's what helps it succeed. Yeah. And, to your point, that personal connection that you get to create, I mean, that's what people want when they go to a fitness class. I don't care what they say, yeah, I'm going to work out, but when you can find that community that supports you, that it becomes so much more. The accountability is there. You want to go, you get to hang out with your people. And then to your point, you get to watch them grow and progress. And it's like the most rewarding feeling in the world.
Yeah. And honestly, like when there are days that I'm just like, oh my God, like, what am I doing? Yeah. Like someone will hit me with a message and they'll be like, hey, like I have a client that she's in her 50s. She's got scoliosis and she went in for a checkup with her doctor because she's been having like sciatic issues. And her doctor told her surgeon that she's been with forever, he's like, I don't want to cut you open. He's like, you're so strong and your head is perfectly aligned over your pelvis, which is a huge win for people with scoliosis. He's like, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. And he's like, you keep doing your classes. He's like, because they're working. And I've got people who like, they're feeling confident enough to wear the sexy blue dress or wear a bikini for the first time. Or my favorite are my moms, my mommies to be. I've had like I've worked with so many pregnant people and like their success stories on like having minimal splitting between like their abdomen and like they just popping these babies out like it's nothing because their pelvic floor and their core is so strong. Yeah. So, but just things like that, like those little wins, or people lowering their A1C levels or and I mean, to them, like they feel like it's just this little teeny tiny thing. Right. But I'm like, it's encouraging to me because it lets me know like all of the madness is actually working. Yeah. And then what's really cool is that when they feel confident enough to share their stories, because we have a private members only page, like when they share their stories, it encourages other people like, hey, so-and-so is doing it. And if I just keep going, like I'm going to see something too. Yeah. And then like we've talked about, like Lagree is so hard. You have to have a community. You do. And it's so intimidating when you walk in and you see 11 feet of like just black steel, like staring you in the face. You're like, oh my God, what is this?
What is this machine?
And then, and then you got people and they see the look of terror and they're like, it's okay. Yeah. Just watch me, watch so-and-so. Your first time is really going to suck, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of cool. Like, oh, like you've been here too. So that's really cool.
It's nice too when the family is so welcoming to new family members. And I have felt that too, you know, when I go to take a class, because I know I don't go as often, but I can feel your regulars. Like every time I do go, I feel very welcome and like included in that group, despite not being there all the time. So if someone's like, okay, I want to come, and they look at the schedule, you have different types of classes, different indicator markers, where's a good place for somebody to start? Or can you just maybe describe maybe 2 to 3 classes that you have that you would recommend to somebody who's a little bit newer?
Okay. Anyone who's newer, definitely green level. So we have different colors. Think of it as like a traffic light, right? Like green is great. Just go, ease a flow of traffic, right? And then I always ask people, I'm like, when it comes to yellow, I'm like, when the light turns yellow, do you floor the pedal to the metal? Right. Or do you slam on the brakes? Because one, that's going to tell me a little bit about you as a person, but two, it's just that proceed with caution, right? Yeah. Because we expect that you know some of the terminology, we keep you in moves longer, like different things like that. And then red is where I draw a hard stop. Like red, you have to do a test out, right? But any of our green level classes, and I suggest trying them all. Like our Lengthen with Lagree, honestly, green is such a good place to start because Lagree is so intense. So it's 30 minutes of that like Lagree burn. Yeah. And then the last 20 minutes of class, we kind of take it down. We do candlelight stretching. And like the last 2 minutes, we do like guided meditation and breath work. Yes. It's everybody's favorite. Yeah. Everybody's favorite. Doing that a couple times is great because you get that 30-minute like Lagree workout. So you're kind of like dipping your toe in the water, but you're not like full balls to the wall. Right. And then after that, like try that full, like that mega focus green, do the full 50-minute like Lagree, see how you're feeling and kind of determine from there, like, do I go to yellow or am I pretty happy staying with green? And then PSM is awesome too. So PSM stands for Pilates Suspension Method. And again, green level is always the best place to start if you're not used to using the suspension apparatus. Because it will challenge your balance, it will challenge your stability, but PSM pairs so well with Lagree. Like there's some moves that just mirror one another, and doing the two together makes people so strong. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, perfect. Good. This makes me, I know I've been absentee lately. I've been riding a lot of bikes, too many bikes, it feels like lately, but I'm like, I'm ready. Let's go right now, Mikel. I'm ready to go take a class.
I'm just spinning my wheels.
I am. So you've shared like a lot about Lagree running a business. We've always talked about how busy we stay and things like that. How do you disconnect or find time from yourself aside from the business work and working out?
So I made a really hard decision at the beginning of everything. And I determined Sundays we were going to be closed. And I knew that there were going to be people because, you know, you got your weekend warriors, right? Yeah. And I knew that there were going to be people that were going to be like, oh man, if you were only open on Sundays. But I knew like I needed that time for myself. So I drew that hard boundary and I really made myself stick to it. Now Sundays, do I lay in bed all day? Like not really. Like I'm meal prepping for the rest of the week, which again, setting myself up for more success. Right? Because I have to be properly fueled to be able to take care of my people and my business. And then I get caught up on like housework and, you know, just like the menial things of life. But honestly, like right now, like I feel like I'm at the point in my business where it's still just survival mode. I'm hoping in like another year or two, like I can start to kind of dial it back a little bit. Yeah. We have a certification that's going to be happening in December. We have 2 master trainers coming out and they're going to be certifying a small group of people. And so I'm hoping to be able to mentor them and get them in so then they can start to take over some of the classes because I'm the only person teaching classes and running the business and everything. So, but I also had this crazy idea because we're at a point where I've got people who've been working with me. If you think about Out of My House, they've been working with me for like going on like 3 years now. It's crazy. So they're so strong. So I created this class model because I'm like, okay, I'm doing all of this training other people. I'm not working out myself. And my body was really like telling me like, hey, we're falling apart. Like you need to start taking care of us. Yeah. So I created this class called Lagree on Demand with Mikel. And it's only to my red level people. And they know what the expectations are. And they know that I'm not teaching the class. Yeah. What we're doing is they're taking a class with me. Okay. Cause I knew you were talking about that accountability, right? That community. I need it so much because when I have my Mikel classes and nobody books them, I cancel them and then I clean the studio or I go home and I clean the house or I do business work instead of training myself.
Yeah.
And so it's that accountability. So by creating that, like it's just so cool to get to take class with your clients instead of running it, isn't it? And it's that connection and it's them seeing you do it with them and seeing you sweat and seeing you cuss and like all of those things. So they know like, hey, like that whole scene, like those who can't teach or whatever it is. I'm like, it's such BS, but it's so easy to fall into that trap as an instructor.
Totally.
It really is. I don't know how it is with cycling, but it's just so easy to fall into that trap and then lose yourself and not get into the training. So those two things, Sundays and then my Lagree on Demand classes.
And you know what? Chick-fil-A is very successful and they've been closed on Sundays forever. So, I mean, it works just
Hobby
fine.
Lobby too, right?
Hobby Lobby too.
Oh my gosh.
I think that's really smart to have a day to close it for yourself. And two, like the taking care of yourself as a fitness instructor is so underrated. And people are always like, oh, you work in fitness, you must be so fit. And I'm like, well, it's kind of interesting. It's like me, I ride a lot of bikes, but I had noticed like, within the last year that I ride really, really, really light gear. And I was like, for one, this is not good on my joints. Gear saves it, protects the joints. So I'm like, Sam, you got to start cranking it up. But then that's too why I try to get to Lagree when I can or try to lift weights because I just got to do something different for me. And just to like, I feel I genuinely like a nice present person, but I feel like sometimes I can walk into Lagree and just be like, meh. Like I don't have to be on, like you have to be on as an instructor and just you tell me what to do and I'll just do it with an angry face and like get it done. That's what you want.
Yeah. So. I think that's something else people don't realize, like instructors, like we have our instructor personality and then we have our regular selves. So it's you definitely that on phase. If you know what it is, awesome. You know what it is. It is draining.
It is big time. So, well, Mikel, thank you so much. This has all been great. I like to end every show with just like words of wisdom or advice. If you had a platform and an audience and you could leave them with one thing, what would that be?
So I know that we're all about like that self-care, that self-love, right? And it's a lot of like that, I want to say almost like egocentric type thing, but there's definitely power in a community. There really is. There's power in having those people that love you, that support you, and that you pay it forward and you do the same thing with them. They keep you accountable. There's power in that tough love, right? And I think that it's very underrated and it's being overshadowed right now by self-love. And I don't know, it takes a village to be a person. It really does, to be a whole, true, healtty person. So
to lean in on those people and that those people lean on you. I think it's so great. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I'm ready. Okay. I gotta go. So, hold on. I gotta go book me my next Lagree class. I'm all inspired again. Thank you so much, Mikel, for coming on.
Thanks for having me on. Absolutely. Seriously. Super excited.
Absolutely. And everybody who's listening, you got to check out Lagree Megacorps. If you're in Dayton, it's the place to go. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a great day because you deserve it.